You ready? Yes, sir. Good morning!
Good morning!
Oh, that's pretty good back here, but you guys, what's wrong up here? Come on, help them out. Good morning!
Good morning!
All right, all right. This guy. Who's screwing this up? Just take responsibility when you come into class and make it the way it's supposed to be. Gotta act like you own it. So who's supposed to sit here? You can move right up there. This morning, how do you persuade someone to your point of view?
Make it their point of view.
No, this is the subject today. This is the subject. How do you persuade someone to your point of view? And what you need to do is you need to be likable to every person you meet. So today I'm going to teach you how to use an old behavioral model called DISC every day. How to use it to predict. Once you see some behavior in others, then you can predict what they're going to do. When you get this model, you will be more confident. Because you'll be able to persuade someone, and when you can persuade people, your life will be better. Why? Because you know that pretty much, and I'll tell you, it's very rare when I want to persuade someone to my point of view, that I can't do it. Although last week I failed. Didn't have enough of an argument. Pushed as hard as I could to try to persuade, but when you don't have a strong argument, don't do it, because you can't do it. So I missed that one. Okay, let's start with two things that I've forgotten. One is, these are dairy dollars. Okay? They're printed on checks, so you can't counterfeit them. No, students would never do that. They never go to a Xerox machine and just try to Xerox them off. No, no. So it's on a check. It looks like George Washington, but it's not. And this is for superlative responses. So I want your input. What if you give a response that's not the correct response? Who cares? Okay, what if you're wrong? How do you learn? Do you learn when you do things well? Gross. Yeah, you learn from your mistakes. That's right. So make a ton of them. You'll be smarter. Number two, I forgot to tell you in our rupture my hip. Go back and forth. I forgot to tell you when we had our initial session on the syllabus that if you miss a quiz, there are no makeups. Zero. Nada. You can't whine. You can't say, my grandmother died. You can't say, I'm a jock and I took a trip. You can't say, I'm sick. If you miss a quiz, you can't make it up. Now, what can you do? Stecker? Extra credit. Huge amounts of extra credit. That's how you make up a quiz. Any questions on the quiz? Derry, that's not fair. Guys, life's not fair. You got to learn what the rules are, and you got to play in the system. Now you know what the rules are. Let's start today. Today's the day. I'm going to remember all the names. Shannon, Decker, Borum, Macaulay. You know, Macaulay's a cool name.
Why?
Braveheart. Seen the movie?
I have not.
You haven't. There's a big scene where it's Macaulay! Right? It is. This is Demuth, and we've got Rose and Alan. Appel.
Yeah.
Weddle, Cook, Higdon, Dahmer, Griggs, Martinez, and Perry, and Gentry. Baston? No. Which one?
New guy. Graves. Ross Graves.
Graves.
How you know? Nice to
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you, Mr. Graves. And let's see, we've got Yang and Wong. Then we've got Hevix, Odell, Gartes. Not popping up here. Oh, Baston, Mr. Baston, yes. Mr. Baston. You didn't do your profile. I told you. Okay. Miss White, Tingle, Crotus, and Sage, and Sis from Scottsville, Kentucky. Okay, all right, here we go. So today, let's start, and I have identified teams. Did I bring them? Where's the... Left them in the office. This is important. Excuse me for a moment. Got them in my office. I'll be right back.
So taking
I enjoyed it. I took my class because I went to NTSU to get, and then it didn't sound when I transferred. Then I had to retake it, then I I'm about to move into
Teams. So write these down. have 4 teams. They are Team 1, Appel, Baston, Dahmer, Hendricks, Macaulay, Sisk, Tingle, Yang. Team 2, Allen, Boyd, Crotus, Graves, Martinez, Rose, Wang, Odell. Team 3, Perry, Borum, Demuth, Gentry, Higdon, Shannon, White. Team 4, Cook, Decker, Gartaze, Griggs, Jones, Sage, Webb. All right, good. You're going to need that because maybe not next week. No. But I got that on the table. I got that. Now remember, go forward in the syllabus. You can identify when teams deliver presentations. If you're going to have to miss class on one of those days, for any reason, then up to 24 hours in advance, you've got to tell me, and you've got to find a replacement. That means in class you can say, I can't be here, a week from Thursday. Can someone switch with me? You have to do it enough in advance so someone can agree. If you can't get anyone to agree, your responsibility. If right now you have some massive absences, you can switch teams. But if you want to switch a team because you're not going to be here for some reason, you got to tell me in advance. If you don't tell me, what assumption do I make?
You're just giving up.
You all agree. You all agree that that you can meet the terms of this schedule. If you don't tell me. Questions? Now, last time we talked about, I asked you, have you ever met anyone that you didn't like? Right? Right? Feedback? Okay. Well, in sales, one of the bedrock principles is that people buy from people they like. So what happens when you meet someone you don't like? Well, if you meet someone that you don't like and you're selling, you just say, I'm not selling to you. Wait a minute. You just took money out of your pocket and you threw it away. You want to figure out how it is that people are different, how you're different than others, and when you run across behavioral issues, behavioral differences, somebody, you like to do this, they like to do that, then you use your intelligence, remember, not your emotions, use your intelligence to try to figure out what it is that you can do that in their eyes will make you likable. That's where we're going today. How do you do that? What if you don't like a professor? Does that ever happen? Well, sure. What do? Just avoid them? No, it gets worse. You better figure out how to behave in a way that causes them to well, that's at least tolerable. But what you'd love is that the professor likes and appreciates you, right? What are the chances that at the end of the semester, if you're between an A and a B, the professor leans that way and gives you an A? Do you think professors ever give people higher grades because they like them? So how can you be likable to everyone? This started with a fellow by the name of William Marston. Marston wrote a book in 1923 called The Emotions of Normal People. He said you could divide, if you imagine all the behavior in a circle, and you divide that circle into hemispheres, that you could understand behavior first by seeing the extent to which people are task-oriented. Second, relationship-oriented. Second, if you bisect that, and then you think to yourself, if people are task or relationship-oriented actively, or passively. Active, passive. What emerges are 4 dominant factors that are present in every person's personality. Black, white, Asian, American, Indian, Navajo, it doesn't make any difference. These are behavioral characteristics that all human beings exert. If you are task-oriented and active in accomplishing tasks, he called this dominance or decisiveness. Now in your profiles, I now want you to turn to Guess I'm going to take notes, right? Mr. Crotus needs a piece of paper. You got a pen? If you'll turn to page 2, I believe, is the circle? Yes. Page 2, Bart. You're looking for this page right here. Okay? This is the page. Page 2. So let's define the 4 factors. D stands for dominance or decisiveness. This is the task orientation. If you are task-oriented, but you try to accomplish those passively, he calls this compliance. We call this the C factor. The language we're going to use in here is high D, low D, high C, low I. This is an intensity factor. Strong in the D, weak in the D. Does that mean good or bad? No, it just means how decisive you are. How actively you seek to solve problems. Compliance is how passively you seek to comply to rules set by others. Following the rules. Being attentive to details. Next, relationship orientation. If you pursue relationships actively, we call this I, or influencing. This is the people factor. So people who are high in the I smile. They like to engage with other people. They get their energy when they engage with people. S, the passive way people try to build relationships. This is the pace variable. So when you're strong in the S, it means you tend to be patient, systematic, process-oriented, good listeners. This model is called DISC. It's been around since Marston. There are over 100 models on the internet, and I've just discovered there are many, many that are free. How valuable typically are things that you get for free? They have some value, but usually they're enticements, right? You get something free like a free app. It takes you a whole bunch of time, and ads pop at you all the time, so you pay $1 and then the ads disappear. So, DISC is 1923, it's 90 years old, and it's the model that predicts how people do what they do. Now let's talk about the 4 factors. And I want you to turn the page, because now we're going to be looking at the intensity of those factors. Good. D. Oh. Make the color for me. The D factor is the problem factor. If you're above the mean, above the average right here, the middle, if you're on this side of the pause, of what's it called, the break, okay? If you're to the right, it means passion. If you're to the left, it means indifference. Is indifference bad? No. There's nothing in here that connotates anything that's good or bad. It's trying to understand you. So when you get up here in decisiveness, you carry around a hammer. Who's behind the D? Okay, you carry around a hammer all day long, Miss Allen, looking for nails. High D's like to solve problems, right? Yeah. Well, I got this. Well, do it this way. So the D bangs on things. And when it gets high, it means it bangs on heads and screws and everything, because D's like to solve problems. Are there situations that people bring to you that are not problems for you to solve? There are? The answer is yes. Now, this model never goes away. So with your D, there are times when someone just wants to get something off their chest. They just want someone to listen. And sometimes D's, when someone brings something to them, they say, well, this is the problem. Wait, you didn't listen. I mean, you got this problem, you got to do this. Right, Mr. O'Connell? Like, ooh, yeah, sometimes I do that. What happens if you are indifferent in the D? This means your hammer's shorter, it's maybe full of cotton, and when you hit, it doesn't hit very hard. It means you can solve problems that you've solved before, but if someone brings you a tough problem, who has a low D?
In natural state?
Okay, thank you very much. Look at your natural style, not your school style. That's a dairy dollar. It's very valuable. Thanks very much, sir. Good. Okay.
$8 adds up to anything?
Yeah. End of the year. You didn't watch my first session? I emailed you the link to the video of my first session. Trust me. You want to bet a dairy dollar? You have a negative dairy dollar. The ones that have the most get the most participation credit. The ones that get the least don't get any. So it's beneficial. And dairy dollars you get for contributions that add to the class, add to the benefit of the class. Talking about low D's, right? Mr. Shannon, your D is low. Yes. When someone says to you, I got a big problem, and it's this and this and this and this and this, what would you do? And then over and over, you sign up for a class where you have to solve problems that you don't know the solution to for an hour. How do you feel? What happens is it drains the energy from you. You can do it. You can do it for a while, of course. But do you want to do it for a living? No. Is this a black mark on your name? No. Know yourself. Know not to say yes to something that you're not going to like. Now, it doesn't mean that you say no to everything. You use your intelligence, and that is, okay, I know my D's low. I got this big problem. Do I just not think about it? No, I need to think about it. Maybe I need to get some help from my mom or a friend. But you need to engage because you're using your brain, not your emotions. The emotion tied to dominance is anger. Where's your report, Mr. King?
Right here.
See him back off? Staring mad. See that? It's intensity. It's impatience. My D's high. It's impatience from the D that appears, it feels like anger, right? It's not. Not angry, just intense. You need to read the difference. Because anger, how does anger make you feel, Ms. Moore?
It makes you feel like...
See? You can't think anymore, right? It's like, oh, wait, what's going on here? So when you get D, natural D behavior, which begins to intimidate you, pause. Oh, you're just a damn D. Okay? It's just D behavior. I'm telling you, your homework assignment is to practice this tonight. Okay? You're going to go out and maybe some of you will have a couple adult beverages. And when you have adult beverages, your natural behaviors are shown in spades. It means your natural, out it comes. So you can, once you watch people, you can begin to see these behavioral characteristics. That's your assignment tonight. Any question on the D?
So, however far it falls right or left on that scale, where exactly does it fall on the circle? Does it fall like more
Well,
towards
the circle
left?
is simply Marston's theory. The way it applies now is a scheme of intensity. So passion, rising indifference.
Okay, so it doesn't fall closer to like task or to...
Thank you. The D, another dairy dollar. I love it. The D and the C are task orientations. Got that, Mr. Jones? The D and the C are task orientations. So this D is this D.
Right.
Answer your question?
Yeah.
Good, good. Any other questions on the D?
I feel like this can change between, I mean, right now we have two, like our natural style, our school style, but I think it can change in multiple situations, like your family, or, because I know for one, I'm hard on my sister, but I'm low in dominance. So,
Now, hard on your sister and dominance are two different things.
but I feel like I would be high in dominance in my family.
Are there occasions when you raise your D to get something done? Yeah. It's what you have to do. What happens when you run across your D is low? There are times when you're attracted to high D guys. Right? You're going out with them. When two Ds come together and they go out, what do? Butt heads. They fight all the time. I want to do this. That's a problem. So they say, oh, life's too short. I want someone who won't fight with me. D does. So she looks for a low D. The D's high. Just kind of that's how the chemistry goes. Now let me define this. It's not always. Okay? You're going to use now your intelligence more and your emotions less. Naturally, this is what you tend to do. What happens when a low D female has a date with a high D male and she needs to say no? She says, no. Does that work? No, she needs to say, no! That's how you get their attention. If you don't, they don't think, if it's a little no, it's not much of a no, you know, so I can keep going. Answer your question. Come on back.
Well, I feel like I'm pretty stubborn, so I'm confused why I would be low. Maybe I don't know why my results came in.
This is, decisiveness is not equivalent necessarily to stubborn. Stubborn is more of an S characteristic, and hold that question until we get there. D is just dominance, decisiveness. And out of that, and the emotion that drives is anger. Let's go to the I. The I factor is the people factor, and people who are passionate on the I to the right smile. They like other people. They want people to like them. They want people to appreciate them. The higher it goes, the more you can't shut them up. Any I's above 9? Ooh, Mr. Shannon. Here's a talker. Right? Yeah, you can. Now, is it easy for you to relate to almost anyone, or at least talk to them?
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly. And he believes that high I's believe they can persuade someone to almost anything. What if someone doesn't give you feedback when you're talking to them? Just do this.
I usually just keep talking.
Just keep talking, right? Just keep talking. Whoa, wait a minute. What if your I is low? Low I's. Okay, good, you've got a low I right next to you, Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, when Mr. Shannon, he's explaining, he wants you to do something, and he explains to you once, and he doesn't get any feedback, and he explains to you twice, and 3 times. Does that ever happen? A lot. Happens a lot. You know why? See, he's going to figure out high I's. All you high I's, the hardest person to deal with is the low I. Because here's how they give you feedback. Are you listening to every word? I'm absorbing. I don't always take it in. I mean, I absorb. I'm not necessarily going to do what they say. Low I's don't give enough feedback. So to shut a high I up, all you do is do this. And you smile. Oh, okay, he got it. He likes me. I got it. Because what all high I's worry to death about is people liking you. Now hold on. Is it under your control? Can you control whether someone likes you? Is that your decision or their decision? It's their decision. So what happens if they don't like you? Can you control that?
Yes.
You can.
I mean, not all the time, but try hard enough.
What do you do?
Well, if you're an I, you keep talking.
Does that work with you?
I'm not an I.
No. And actually, it doesn't work with eyes either. If 2 eyes get together, one doesn't listen. It just needs a break. Let's get out of here because you're not listening to me. Right, Mr. Shannon? Right. So I'm getting at here a basic issue that all of you have to confront. You can't control whether someone likes you. So don't take what other people say about you personally, because you can't control it. They don't know you. They don't know when you were 6 years old that you broke your arm. They don't know that you hit your head. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. So why should you take a criticism of you personally what they say. Make sense?
No, but a human psyche doesn't function well with that.
Is your peace and harmony high?
Yes.
How I feel is what I do. Pause. Wait. Can I really persuade someone to like me? No. I can do things. I can be respectful. I can listen. I can do all those things that are necessary for persuasion. And if I focus on things that you care about, and I get you talking about you, how do you feel, Ms. Rose? Ooh, good. Now, one of the key principles in getting a job is getting past the recruiter. Right? The recruiter doesn't hire you, it's just a roadblock. Okay? So what you have to do with a recruiter is you have to get them talking. High eyes, not about you. It's not about you, it's about them. So you gotta shut up and you gotta ask them questions, because when the recruiter starts talking, guess how they feel about themselves? They feel good, they like you. Listen, people like you if you get them talking about things that are important to them. Right, Mr. Cook? Bingo. See, this is the essence of persuasion. It's to cause someone else not to dislike you. And ultimately to say, hey, I like this person. And they're open to your argument.
So like, theoretically, D's and I's should like get along fairly well together, because D's like to solve problems, but I's like to make other people solve problems.
Moderately, these are the ones that people have trouble with. Because they don't listen. Always think that they're right. They're too arrogant. Right? My D's at 100. I know that. I know that. So what you have to do though, when I relate to an I, I've got to bring my intensity down. What D's tend to do is interrupt. So guess what? My wife and I, she finally got through my thick skull that I interrupted her. I didn't know. In a conversation, and I just have my opinion and puts it on the table. So she got so mad, I said, wait, we gotta do something differently here. You always do what you've always done. You'll always get what you've always gotten, right? You gotta change something. So I said, let's do this. The next time I interrupt, just do this. Because I don't know I do it. I need some signal. So now she does this. Okay. Ah, you're interrupting me again. Okay. Well, now I get it. So now when she's in a conversation, I just don't say anything. I just stop, wait. I can bring my point in later. Because her I is low. Mine's high. So when she gets talking, she's not having some concrete work done out back. Concrete guys are going in today. My wife's a low I. Concrete guys is a high D. I texted him this morning. What I texted? I said, make sure you communicate well with my wife. When she's happy, we're happy. Oh, yeah. Because D's tend to just run over. And a D guy and a low D, low I woman, they tend to run right over them. Low I females, any here? Low I? Low I females do not want to not be communicated to. When it's important, they want to say what they want to say. They're just not very outgoing. Emotion attached to influencing is emotion. When they're happy, they're happy. When they're sad, they're sad. Question on the eye. Are you high eyes? You're going to test this tonight. You are going to find some low eyes. How can you tell a low eye?
Quieter.
Hmm? When they don't respond, they don't smile,
Eye contact.
no eye contact,
A lot quieter.
quieter. They just kind of sit back. They don't like to talk a lot. So how do you approach a low I? The way you like to do it? You like to do it, Mr. Shannon? Hey, how you doing? If a high I approaches you that way, how do you respond, Mr. Jones?
Just kinda,
Crap, I got another one of these chatterboxes, right? So what you do is you adjust your approach. You say, hi, my name is Shannon.
Dylan.
Oh, sorry. Dylan. High I says, how you doing? Low I says, fine. Low I says, oh, maybe I'm gonna like this person. See? It's not about you. Persuasion is not about you. It's about them. 3. S. The S is passive on relationships. We call it the pace factor. So when it's strong up in here, it means the person prefers a slow, steady, methodical pace. They like to do projects one at a time. They like to start, work them all the way through, end. Take on another one, start it, work it all the way through and end. When they're in environments where they can do that, it brings them energy. When you are indifferent to steadiness, which is unsteadiness or impatience. This is patience, impatience. This is do things one at a time. This is multitask. The more your S flows below the line, not only everybody, well, not everybody, our environment today and phones tend to cause us to want to multitask. Low S's love it. They do this one, they do this over here, then they do this over here, then they work on this one a while. Well, it's great. They don't finish any of them. Well, I'll get to it. The emotion attached to steadiness is no emotion. If your S is high, under conflict, you tend to take conflict like this. Because S's don't like it. As a matter of fact, how many S's to the right of the break? Okay, raise your hands. Okay, who has the highest score? 8? 7? 6? 7?
Yes.
Anyone higher than Miss Martinez? Okay, let's talk about Miss Martinez. Now, of course, I don't know. I'm going to make all this stuff up. But this is how to understand S, dominant S behavior. S's don't like to get mad. It's not inside. They don't like to show it. They get mad on the inside, right? Just don't show it. So Miss Martinez has a roommate, and her roommate is a high D. Miss Allen, your D's high?
Yes.
What's the number?
5.
Oh, just a little bit above. Who's stronger? Who's stronger? Ooh, 8.7. I've got a nice D right here. So you guys are roommates, okay? So Miss Rose says to Miss Martinez, can I borrow your car? Miss Martinez says, oh, wait. S's are possessive. Like, ooh, this is my car. S's tend to sit in the same seat every time. Because this is my area. It's my chair. And if someone sits there, S will come in and just, like, what do? It's my space, right? So, Miss Rose says, can I borrow your car? I'll only be gone for 10 minutes. Don't worry, I won't hit anything. But she knows this D is kind of rambunctious. You know, and she look at the apartment and, you know, she's intense. And sometimes she's not careful, right? So she says, all right, just for 10 minutes. Okay. So you go out to the store. You meet someone at the store, you have a little conversation, you go have a beer, and you do this, and then she comes back in 2 hours. Well, she said it was this and this and this and this and this and this, and your car's fine, and blah, 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 thanks very much. At the end of 10 minutes, the S is saying, oh my gosh, where's my car? She told me, do what you say you'll do, right? And she's not doing it. The high D says, I got other things I need to do. So instead of getting mad, she takes this anger and she puts it in her gunny sack. This is what happens. Then, when she goes out in the morning to get in her car, we left the door open. This is an old model and the battery's dead. Now if it were your car, what you would do, and you borrowed it, you'd say, listen, my car, you did this. Up comes the anger, right? Boom, hit it, and then the anger dissipates. Not an S. S's, they'll take. So she says, okay, my car battery's done. I gotta call AAA, I gotta do this. Does all that thing. Oh, I'm late for class. Oh no, I'll have to walk into class. Derry will look at me, I'm late. Oh no, it's gonna be terrible. Instead of getting upset, she goes, puts it in the gunny sack. As she's coming across at the railroad tracks, train goes by. She's later. Road rage is a D thing. Right? Okay. So in she comes. And now the gunny sack's, it's full. So someone says, you okay? I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just going to sit down. Ooh, something's wrong with Martinez. Ooh. Then she sees you. And then, boom, out it comes. You did this. Now, one-on-one, you did that, and then you did that, and I'm mad, and last week you did this, and 2 years ago you did this. Because you have a memory that's a mile long. They don't forget. And Miss Rose says, I mean, I just borrowed the car for an hour. Why are you unloading on me? Right. This is how S's and D's can fight if you don't take control. S's need to learn. When there's something that bothers you, get it on the table. The best way to do it is to use this phrase. I'm confused. I'm confused, Miss Brooks. You said you were only going to take 10 minutes, but you took an hour. What happened? You're not confronting. You're just saying, I'm confused. And then you'll learn. And she'll tell you that she had a flat tire. She was so embarrassed that she got a brand new tire. And she's not going to charge you for it, and she appreciates it. Oh, well, thanks. You didn't know that. So you can't get mad at something you don't fully understand. D's, on the other hand, you have to take full responsibility. You have to know that if you're with a D, especially in a relationship, you've got to get things that bother them on the table. If you don't, that gunny sack builds up. Then all of a sudden, at the worst possible moment, your life becomes uncorked. Questions on the S? Okay. C. C stands for compliance. This is the other task orientation, and this factor is complies with rules set by others versus complies with own rules, my rules. If the C is low, Mr. Cook, you're snickering. This is the rule follower, this is the rule breaker. Right. I'll do it my way versus the right way. The emotion that's attached to the C is worry or fear. It's the worry that drives quality. But the issue for all C's is always this issue. The issue of concern versus the issue of influence. What do C's above the line, to the right of the line? Raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. When the C's up here, you guys tend to worry, right? Again? Yeah. Worry is what I do that causes me not to make mistakes. It causes me to be detail-oriented. That's what makes my life great, is when I don't make mistakes. Right? Right. That's me.
Is it really weird to like have a compliance score really low and natural, but then have a really high one for school?
It is not weird. It is simply how you feel you should behave as a student versus you as a person. This creates stress. Right? Not normally, you know, on details, I don't care, but if I don't follow the details, I don't get the grades, right? Now, this is a major conversation. We got 5 minutes left. It's a lot larger than 5 minutes. I'll give you a thumbnail sketch, a small one, and then I want to end with a little example. Your natural style is you when you are with your family, friends, or when you're upset. Because when you're upset, you can't adapt your style. You're just you. But when you go into an environment and the best thing is always to use your behavior that is natural to you in your environment. Why, Ms. Hendricks? Why is that the best? Because you're you. When you can step into any environment and act like you like it. Right. Of course. If you have a job, you want to get a job where you can use your natural behavior, because it brings you energy. But when you have to adapt your style, the more you adapt, the more emotionally, when you win the job or your life as a student, you go, I don't like this. Right? So this is the first indication. If there's stress between you naturally and stresses you as a student, this is the first indication. Oh, yeah. So what are you going to do? You're now at the, I've now paused you there, right? Oh. See, the second step in learning, the first step in learning is the unconscious, incompetent stage, where you don't know, you don't know. Second stage is conscious incompetence, where you know, you don't know. That's where you are. Like, oh, damn, Derry. And now, yeah, this is the problem. I am acting differently. Okay, now what are you going to do? The answer's in my course. Stay tuned. There are lots of solutions coming. Now your assignment, don't do what I've done yet, don't start. Another minute. I want to give you an example of what I want you to watch for this weekend. When you're out tailgating and having fun, I want you to watch. D behavior. What did D's order at the bar?
Shots.
Shots. Whiskey. Why? They want to get to the point, right? What's the point? I gotta get a buzz. Boom, I got a buzz now. Here we go. Okay? So, and when D's get a buzz, what comes out? Anger, impatience, right? How about I's? What do I's drink?
Anything?
Wine. I want to drink mixed drinks. I want to drink something that's new, like, what are you drinking? I'll try that. Because they want people to like them. Well, if I drink something that you're drinking, then you'll like me, right? No, but that's how you feel. High I's want adventure. S's. Ms. Martinez, do you consume adult beverages? What do you tend to order?
I don't really know what it's called.
What's that?
I don't know what it's called.
You go to the bar, you say, I'd like a
A beer?
beer.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is there a kind of beer?
No.
Just want a beer?
Yeah.
Just a beer. And every time she goes to the bar, she orders a beer. Every time, same thing. Doesn't like change. What do C's order?
Water?
No, as a matter of fact, C's, fear and worry runs through their brain. Alcohol dissolves the fear. And a C can become another person under the influence. Because the fear goes away, all of a sudden, whoa, look at Bob, what the hell's going on with him? C's tend to order brands. Was James Bond a D or a C? Who said C? A C. Did he ever get shot? Killed. Never got killed. He always got the girl. Is that C behavior or D behavior? It's C. You calculate. You figure out. You do this, success. What did he order at the bar?
Martini, shaken, not stirred.
Shaken and not stirred. Is that how you'd order a martini, Miss Al? No, just give me a martini. Simple. It's a martini shaken and not stirred. As a matter of fact, I want it to be this martini with this little bit and then a cherry. It's exactly the way they want it. Now, you've got now a picture of D's, I's, S's, and C's. Go out tonight and watch. And come back, not Monday, but come back Wednesday, and we'll start with a report out. Have a great weekend. Now, our first quiz is on Wednesday. It's on the pink book. So read the first chapter. The first thing we'll do on Wednesday is have a quiz over chapter 1. Have a great weekend.
See you at tailgating?
Oh, yeah. I mean, what does it take that long to get to this place? I just go through downtown and... West Garden.
So we'll try that, and then Andrew's bringing the grill over. Okay. And cool. Thank you. 3:30. I'll be over there to help you.
Yes.
Thanks, man. See y'all. Have a good rest of the day. Yeah, me too, man.
Oh, really?
I got every other email.
So I didn't send you. Oh, so send me an email right away, remind me, and I'll send you the link. You're not going to be there. So you have the team not doing anything. Well, then, you know, you better do some extra credit to count balance.
Really? That's huge. Congratulations. That's really great. Are you in this one? Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. Like it's really cool. It's very interesting stuff. Today's lesson is
But I don't know, I feel like,
these people who are much yeah, seriously. But I gotta go to the quiz. It was really nice.
Moderately correct. If you have any questions, the best thing for me is just show it to someone. Exactly, just bark.
I don't think I would. Like my fiance, he would be like, oh no, she's way up here.
Well, this is what, this is a part of the education. Know yourself. That's why I want you to read this, have a conversation with others. And this is 10.
And I'm very, I analyze the way I feel, the way I think, it's all, more than I should. So when you're saying that it's kind of like emotional, the emotion is
No emotion.
show. I'm
Showing.
going, okay.
Showing, it's not feeling. Oh, inside it's a beehive. Show.
Preferably Friday night, a common name. And we're going to dinner
It's just a it's just a equivalent amount of INS, which means good talker, but at the same time you listen. So what you tend to do is relate well. Easy to build relationships. It's not meeting new people. Meeting new people is the high patient to meet people. And see what you're called. Listen. And you're great at building relationships.
Which one do you like, I don't know what
Great
you would say,
relationships.
but like, I don't know.
People.
Is it something or not spelling, or is it 9:35? Or no? It is.
So there's no way I can get to
Yeah, so I was like in this class and on Tuesday, I was like, I was
That's cool. With my analyzing, I'm always trying to that I'm going yesterday. You don't know me, but you just, they still listen to it. Is that so they have to get something for it. Yes. You have to do it on the side where it's just like you can do it. And I learned how to do that. I was doing a little bit of free space. It's not really and then we're going to measure him and figure it out.
You know how she's like very long and like,
It's a skill to have.
What do you do? You're trying to get care about
I'll take it.
I'm so ready. So check out what I got. I live with Jake right now. And Jake is the manager for Sam. I'm gonna make use of this. I'm not taking all my information.
Oh, yeah. I'm going inside.
What I'm gonna do is like, just be on Facebook, be part of it.
Start some chants.
I was gonna make sure, I didn't know it was harder, I didn't know
Way down the bar.
yeah, I turn around, or no,
And I mean, you know, like Jerry, it's great. He's coming out. I thought she was gonna be all right, so
we do?
Oh, yeah.
But your standards said you want to be like, I know. That's funny.
I was like, guys, you drive.
Oh my God.
With that, like, you get caught up on the curve.
Yeah, she's
You switch it around, stuff like that, you grab her finger.
great, right? She's
It's like,
take $500.
Classes are too short.
She needs to get rid of that card.
It's too much
Yeah,
fun.
that's too much money. Okay.